shape the drape around the rib cage. Okay, and then the other is at the pelvis. That gives you, and if I were to imagine this, it's really one huge palm. But here, what I'm doing is I'm playing with the bellow of the breath, so I'm playing with the diaphragm, but I'm also playing with the internal organs. Because just as we did the suction, with this I'm doing a kind of massaging of the internal organs. That'll be the lungs, that would be the heart, the diaphragm, the spleen, the pancreas, you see, the stomach. So if you're aware of that, then you know this hand is doing, it's subtle, but it's still compress and release, so you're getting this churning of the internal organs. So not just go for this, because then you miss that. Okay? So torso rock. Torso rock variation, the hand on the rib cage crosses, and we're reaching with the palm. If I stay where I am, my wrists are clear. If I step forward, I'm going to do something like this, and then I'm going to start doing something like this, and I got this and this and this, and where's what is free? You see? So I'm just reaching forward into the space, leaving the space open. Back to torso rock. Staying where I am, reach forward. Pelvic pull. And I know it feels odd, but because it's kind of a diagonal pull, but you're also playing with a kind of torque. Into the rib cage. Back to pelvis and torso rock. Same hand crosses, and I step to the waist, and there's my connection. I'm not going in suddenly. I take my time and walk, and now squeeze into cupping lumbar spine 1 and 2. 1, just lining up the central tool. And squeeze. The squeeze gives me stability, and now I can separate out what's happening with the heel of my hand here and the compression I'm making along the edge of the quadratus. Now the quadratus sits like this, 12th rib down to the crest. So if I go in, I can lean back slightly. I can direct the vector towards the crest, which is where it inserts, and I can direct it towards the 12th rib. And why am I interested in that one? Because it's the hip hiker. That's what it does. And if it's contracted, you see how it compresses the back? And so we're looking to kind of relieve pressure around this. That's why this is good for low back. What did you just tell me?
Yeah, he facilitated my little quirks there.
1, 2. And 2A, thumbs squeeze. Okay. It works fine. It's not pokey. Okay. And 3, crossing the spine, working the lower erector and the multifidus down into sacrum, up to the 12th rib. And transition into elongate down crest and trochanter. Stretch, hand on the trochanter goes under. Again, hypothenar right there, that's a good contact point. And I'm always looking to see, well, God, what's the person feel connected to? And transition into elongate upward. There's the same spot, hypothenar. And now I'm going to supplement the motion by feeling for the most movement I can gain just working the lateral rib cage. And there's a point where I'm going to get the most movement with the least effort. And of course, that's the best point, because I don't want to overdo. Up into the scapula and taper. And to do that, I just slightly squeeze, the same exercise, but you can do it subtly. I squeeze, which connects me in towards the core, and now every movement I make, you see it goes right through. And tapering always collects the motion and draws it in towards the core of the body. And forearm off the table. I'm on her right, so it's my right hand. Standing here. If I lean back, if I lean, there's my body weight doing it. And then I'm just going to intend. I haven't mentioned it a lot, but intention, I'm intending to tap here. That's what I'm going to do. If I'm not intending, I could just be going like this, you see. But my intention is that I'm looking to bounce that ball. And seesaw one under. And be mindful that this is on line with the scapula. Because if I go here, then you see there's no room for bouncing, which is the resilience. The bounce springs, and then you have this kind of ripple of movement, ending with an arcing stretch. And for me to get that, my thumb just drops right into the groove of the humerus. Hold, bounce the stretch, and see if there's a bit more elasticity. Stretch. One B over at the acromion. And one C over your distal thigh, just above the knee. Hands are free, so now I can play with the tissue. I can squeeze or compress and pull the trapezius while my engine hand is working here at the clavicle acromion. Or squeeze along the teres, and always let the tissue expand freely. Over the triceps, step down, swing, proximal forearm, swing through onto the table, arc, just to keep the limb from traveling, proximal forearm, flip, bounce, pull, bounce. And transition, circle, and wrist pull bounce. Swing off, swing through onto the table, arc over the wrist, flip bounce, and pull bounce. Easy transition, slip under, and circle. And notice the circle. I'm not, that's too much. This weight with this little arm, all I need is, because this sensation for me with this is very light. I'm just feeling the sense of lightly gliding in space. And I can bring that up right now because this was probably mentioned in Essentials, but we're always playing with and speaking through the proprioceptors. Okay, And proprioceptors they're in the muscles, but you're clustered at the joints. And so that gives me kinesthesia. There's my finger right there, I don't have to see it. I'm sensing it through the body. But there's my wrist, okay, there's my elbow. And what we're talking to is as if that's what we're doing. It's not a visual thing, it's really them feeling that. And motions in space, after a while, you're kind of expanded into that space. So you could kind of frame it in your vision that I'm just communicating with the proprioceptors. You see? And when that happens, it's all kinesthesia. And of course, if you move things through space a while, then you have this trail of sensation through space, and then the body starts losing its physical boundary, and you start going into whatever that state is. You see, it starts expanding out of the condensation into a more energetic space. You've experienced that on the table. You get off the table, you're going, okay,